I want to bless you tonight with our first guest. This man and I have had a wonderful time in the green room just carrying on. But seriously, John Winters, or the John Winters, is a 24-year veteran of the newspaper industry. He has been a bureau chief and is now an author of a couple of books, and two of them we're going to talk about tonight. One is called Everyone Needs a Sam, and the other one is The Little Black Dress. And this one I really like here. We're going to talk about definitely the Sam. Everyone Needs a Sam, talking about mentors. Let's welcome to the set my new friend, the John Winters. Hey, my friend.
Okay, that's a private joke for everyone.
It is, but well.
Thank you, Rob, for having me.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Well, we certainly enjoyed talking to you. Nice boots, man.
You like those?
Yeah,
I'll get you a pair.
I already have a pair. Thank you very much. Okay. Well, let's talk about your life and what God has been doing in your life. I know you spent, gosh, a lot of time being an editor and a writer for the newspaper industry. How is the newspaper industry doing these days?
It's in free fall.
Is it?
A lot of great people have lost their jobs through no fault of their own. It's just the economy, and there was a lot of debt that newspapers company absorbed, and
yeah, but you've survived through this, and of course you're here. You live in Newnan, which is not too far from here, but God's using you in another company. And but during that time that you were working, there's some events that took place in your life, and you had to make some very hard choices, which led to this book.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what happened in your life that led to this book.
It was the end of 2008. I'd been with the company, as you had mentioned, 24 years. It was a major decision time for me. The company was in a lot of trouble. At the same time, my wife's parents were both suffering from Alzheimer's, and my father-in-law had short-term memory. They could not take care of each other, and we were looking at emergency guardianship, which would also involve moving back to Oklahoma. And we were just literally facing career and family decisions hitting all at once. And and the way the book came about, one of my favorite books was Lord of the Rings. And what many people don't know is written by J.R.R. Tolkien, who was a very strong Christian.
Right. In
fact, he was very good friends with another professor there at Oxford University, where they both taught, who was an avowed atheist. And many bibliographers believe that Tolkien had a great influence on this avowed atheist becoming a Christian.
Amen.
And his name was C.S. Lewis.
Yes, one of my favorites.
And you put those two together, and you have quite an influential impact. But I love the book. It's the ultimate good versus evil. And,
right.
There's a scene at the very end where our two heroes, Frodo and his faithful companion Sam, are trying to climb up this mountain to get to the lake of fire to destroy this ring that Frodo is carrying around his chest, and it is a ring of evil, and it must be destroyed for good to survive. And as you learn, this ring has literally been sucking the life out of Frodo as he carries, because it's evil, and he's good, and evil can't be next to good.
Right.
And he literally collapses, and Sam looks at him and he goes, "Mr. Frodo, I can't carry your burden, the ring, but I can carry you." And then he picks him up. And right as that scene goes on, I turn, I look at my wife, and I say, "Everyone needs a Sam." And she turns right back and looks at me and goes, "Write the book." So I did.
Yes. And the book is empowering, I must say.
Thank you.
It really is. And I can, as I was reading through the book, Sam's came to my mind. Some of the Sams that the Lord has brought to me.
Absolutely.
There's always times in our lives where we don't feel like we can go on.
Right.
I understand that. I've been through that myself, and still experiencing that to some degree. And if it wasn't for the Sams in my life, I wouldn't be here today talking to you. I mean, it's obvious. Tell us some of the examples of the Sams that you've experienced in your life,
Sure.
John.
You know, the Sams are kind of twofold. They're number one, they're what I call mentors.
Yes.
And what I call, those are the ones whose wisdom and advice lasts a lifetime. You still recall it. But a Sam is also what I call a true friend.
Right.
And a true friend is the one that, you know, grabs his sword and stands side by side with you
Yeah.
when you're fighting your giants,
Right.
whether they are spiritual giants or business giants or, you know, personal giants, whatever. And that's the purpose of this book, is to find these people and to not only find them, but to cherish them, learn what they can and can't do. Mm-hmm. And then the other part of the book is obviously about seeking biblical wisdom, and that's a command. If you look in Proverbs, it doesn't say, you know, it might be a good idea to go do this. It says seek, and it says, you know, find and discover. I mean, they use very action words. But, you know, I had Sams who helped us in dealing with just the various health issues and legal issues we had with my parents,
and it was a
my
very
wife's parents.
difficult situation too.
It was, and at the same time, then I was, you know, talking with other Sams about whether or not I should leave the company. I mean, it was.
Yeah, and you've been with this company for 24 years.
24 years. It's a great company.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a terrible decision to have to be put in a position first,
Yes.
to have to make, but really it's not a hard one when it's your family.
That's true.
Okay, but still you need to have somebody,
Right.
a Sam in your life,
Absolutely.
to help you make those decisions. Tell me about that Sam that helped you push you through to make that final decision that says, John, you got to go.
And that's exactly what he said. And I literally was explaining, as Rob and I were talking earlier in there, I was kind of explaining my story, and I was on the phone talking with a great Sam, and I finally took a breath, and he goes, John, it's time for you to go. And he was absolutely right, and I have a whole chapter on that, is that these Sams, these mentors, they're the ones who are going to tell you the truth, even when you don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
You know, when you really don't want to hear it. I mean, that's who they are. They are loyal to you to a fault. They are the ones that will climb up the mountaintop of success with you.
Yeah.
But everyone does that. I mean, you have people you don't know climb up there. But when you're falling down,
Right.
because you've lost your title,
Yes.
you know, you've lost your home, or someone's gotten sick, and
right.
all of a sudden you're in this deep valley. You look around, there's not a lot of people.
You're right.
And while you're trying to find that, you know, the light switch, they're the ones who bring the flashlight. You know, and
Well, that's a
those
great
are the
analogy.
people,
You're
those
absolutely
are the people
right.
you meet. And that's who these Sams are. And then what I do is, you know, I referred beginning to the whole Sam story, and in the book ends with finding what I call the ultimate Sam.
Yeah,
And the ultimate Sam is Jesus.
certainly.
And the difference, because, you know, Sam said, I can't carry your burden, but I'll carry you.
Yeah.
You know, Jesus looks at you and goes, I can carry your burden, and I can carry you.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Well,
So-
tell us about that time in your life where, you know, the ultimate Sam had to carry that burden for you. Were you ever in a place in your life, and I'm sure there's many viewers out there that are at that place right now, where they're at the end. They
Absolutely.
cannot go any further. And they may not even have a Sam in their life. Maybe they're in jail, maybe in prison, you know, and they feel alone. How do they find a Sam to help them get over to that next level, to help them get to that place where they release that ring of dependence?
Well, there's always the ultimate Sam, but I believe, and he is the ultimate.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
But I believe that God brings people into our lives. You know, humans were made for relationship. I mean,
That's right.
we're not solo beings, and I've just had people come in at just unique times, or when I really needed someone, I just get a call. Someone invites me to come, you know, speak on the book somewhere else when I'm at a really low point. I'm like, wow, you know, or just they're ones there. You know, these are the Sams and the friends. You know, sometimes they're just, you know, they're sitting there and they're not saying anything. They're just, You know they're there.
Yeah.
And those, and you know, there's illustrations throughout the Bible of those kinds of people.
And I want to get to those definitely in the second part of our interview, because those examples, you really don't think about them because they're in the background.
Sure.
And really, if I'm understanding your book right, it's those are the true Sams.
Yes.
They don't want the glory.
No.
They want to be in the background.
Right.
And so that you are pushed into your destiny.
Absolutely. A true Sam will never seek the spotlight.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. They never will. They applaud your success.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
True Sams applaud your success. Was very quickly, give me two characteristics of a true Sam.
They are loyal. They keep their word.
Loyal, and they keep their word.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. And that's really an example of Christ.
Absolutely.
So what you're saying to me is a true Sam is an example of Jesus Christ himself. He is Jesus Christ personified, actually.
And that is why I call Jesus the ultimate Sam, because I do have a chapter that, and it's literally called Sams Are Human.
Mm-hmm.
They make mistakes. And, you know, and that's why the Bible says seek as much wisdom, as much guidance as you can. You can't rely on one or two people.
Yeah.
That's why the Bible keeps saying many, you know.
But there's safety in a multitude of counselors.
Absolutely, because you're going to find out that your true Sams are going to generally agree on whatever the issue is. I mean, you might have a couple out here or out here, but most of them who know you are going to say, you ought to go this path.
Yeah, and that's the examples we're going to find in Scripture when we come
Yes.
back from music.